A passing thing this morning, but there are people who look at these cargo ships on a daily basis. It's become a hobby for them, and now today, what fodder they'll have to look at. Mike Singer is one of those people. He belongs to the group. It's the Baltimore Chesapeake Bay Ship Watchers, and I think we may have him on a Zoom call right now. What they do is sort of like planes. When you look at the tail numbers, you'll see planes come in and out of the airport. Mike, I imagine you do the same thing with cargo ships here in Baltimore. What a morning.
Exactly. Did not want to wake up to this.
Just give us an idea. You know, I think we forget, and if you have a chance, I know you have that your two-way, but if you could turn that down just a touch. I know that we see so much come in and we forget how much. Calcium chloride, we forget. Aluminum, cement, cars come in and out. This is a busy port.
Yes. So if this bridge coming down will affect a lot of things. We're #1 importer in sugar for Domino Sugar. We're #1 importer in gypsum for making drywall boards. We have 2 drywall board factories here in town. We are #2 in coal exports. So 4 to 6 ships go out full of coal every week.
Wow.
Not to mention we're #1 in ro-ro and auto imports. Most of that is blocked, not to mention the 2 cruise ships that we have come every week.
Right.
So it's going to stop a lot.
So Mike, chances are, if I'm crossing the Bay Bridge today, and you sort of take a look out, I guess, to your right, we usually see 1 or 2 ships stacked. We're going to see quite a few over the next few days, I'm guessing.
Well, yes, but there's an awful lot of flex that happens with the anchorage at the Bay Bridge. So just as an example, 3 or 4 days ago, there were 3 or 4 ships there. 2 days ago, there were 14.
Wow.
And so, but most of it is coming in to export coal.
Okay.
Most of them.
Talk to me about or at least the typical stay for a ship. They come in Baltimore, they get loaded up. Is this usually a quick turnaround once they get into our port and then head out?
Yes. Yeah, of course, it depends on what they're doing. They could be here for a half a day. They could be here for 3 days. Coal ships can be 2 days. Container ships can be up to 3 days. We just had one of our largest container ships come in, was here for 3 days. Sugar ships can be 2 weeks.
Wow.
So,
and a ship coming in,
there's a lot of variation in it.
A ship coming in and then a ship heading out, there's a lot to account for because your weight is all changed now. You know, I'm guessing that makes that navigation beneath a bridge or anything that might come close to the ship that much more difficult.
Well, they pass each other all the time.
Okay.
So ships don't avoid that. You know, they're all professionals.
Yeah.
They come and go all the time. I always say shipping doesn't stop.
Right.
Right. So the pilots that are climbing on board the ship, you know, when it's 35 degrees and the winds are blowing 20 miles an hour and there's 5-foot seas, I mean, the port never stops.
And as you say that, the trickle-down effect at this point, you know, if you're waiting for a car delivery from overseas, if you're waiting for, you know, a birthday present that could be on one of these containers, like this is going to have a ripple effect for quite some time, I would guess.
Absolutely. Unless you're getting a VW or a BMW.
Because they're made in the U.S.
Well, maybe. But what I was referring to is there's the old Sparrows Point, the old steel mill, right, Trade Point Atlantic. So VWs and BMW, those automotive groups, because it's more than just that one brand.
Okay.
Those 2 are both imported just outside the Key Bridge, and they just moved there in the last 2 years.
Have you, we're sort of describing this like with the airplanes, the tail numbers, as you've tracked these things over the years, you've seen ships coming in and out. I assume you've seen close calls, but nothing this close, obviously. I mean, is this as much of a hazard as it seems, or is this just an oddity?
I don't think a tragic accident like this happens often, but it did happen in Tampa.
Oh.
It did happen in Tampa.
Do you remember the circumstances there?
Other than a ship hitting the bridge, I don't recall any
Sure.
specifics. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Well, just tell me about your groups, what you guys will what you'll end up doing over the next few days. I'm guessing this will be interesting for a group that watches commerce come in and out to not be able to see that. Will you be tracking how they reroute now?
We'll see if we can find that out. I do have some contacts within the port, but probably not. That information probably isn't readily available to us, but I'll see if I can find it out.
And just the last thing for you, just the emotion for you this morning. I know for me it was scrolling through Twitter and having to backtrack because I could barely believe what I saw. For you, what was this morning like for you?
I roll over and I've got my phone is blowing up and I'm looking down and all these people want to contact me on Instagram from foreign countries. What is going on?
Yeah.
And then I saw it. You know, I grew up here. I used to fish and crab with my dad. We were out on our boat all the time. You know, so.
Yeah. I mean, same thought for me.
It's tough to see.
Yeah, you can't imagine the horizon without the Key Bridge. It doesn't.
You can't.
Yeah.
And I wish I could pull it up, but you know, I even had a logo commissioned that shows, you know, the shape of the Key Bridge.
Yeah.
It's part of one of our logos. So it's, you know, it's iconic to Baltimore.
Yeah. You have a beautiful opening page to your website. Let folks know again, it's the Baltimore Chesapeake Bay Ship Watchers. Just Google them, you'll find them. You guys usually have a live stream over at the port, and you do a lot of tracking as a hobby. We appreciate your time, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Certainly, and again, just to get people up to date, 8:56 right now, closing in on 9 o'clock. This has been quite the morning. I'm not sure if we have a live picture we can show you out there.